Welcome back for another monthly update. We have a few things going on. The doors are probably the biggest, most time-consuming thing that is in this video, so I'll walk through some of the details around those, and I'll try to find a couple other updates from last time we talked. So, here we go. Started off by putting this weather strip around the exterior frame of the doorway. The strip that came with Factory 5 kit is meant for like a 1/8 inch flange, so something like this, but it's too thick here. It was like a 1/4 inch of fiberglass. So I tried to look online for a 1/4 inch seal to match it, and I could not find one with this flocked kind of felty material, so the window will slide up and down it without squeaking or grabbing like a rubber seal. And I couldn't find one, so I ended up grinding this whole fiberglass flange down with a Dremel so I could use their supplied seal, which is kind of frustrating. And then through many hours of adjustment, trial and error, you had to keep cutting this slot in the top of the door wider and wider to get the window in there. And you finally have it seat in these rubber clamps of the window motor. And you have to wire the window motor. So here's my driver's side window switch. The first time I installed the driver window, it came up a little bit short. It left a huge gap at the top. So I remounted it in the window motor bracket up here, and it was a little better, but still short. So I adjusted the angle of the entire window track, and it's short again. And I basically have this bottom adjustment down here maxed out. A lot of room to slide this one up more, but it doesn't matter because this one is, restricting you. And then even when I got the window at a good height, it wasn't sealing well on the, what would this be? The top of the window. So I ended up having to add 2 extra washers back here just to get the angle of the window correct against the seal, down here, and just a good seal around the perimeter. It's hard to get everything to touch nicely and give a little squeeze to keep water out. But this is the final window. And I don't care for this weather strip down here. It still has some gaps in it. I don't know. I might try to find something better because it looks a little out of place to me. Then you get to cut the door handle out of the door, which is a little nerve-wracking. And you put that in. And you have to secure it in with this large black bracket. Let me get some better light. So then you hook up a couple of these metal linkages that Factory 5 supplies to you. Like this guy right here. And he is for the door handle. So when you open the door handle on the outside, you see it pushes that black lever down. And that releases the latch. And then you have the door lock mechanism, which is this metal cylinder back here. And another Factory 5 metal linkage. And that ties into the Subaru door lock. So from the outside, when you turn the key, that whole thing rotates. And from the inside, you have your interior toggle. This chrome piece will stick out through the door skin. This white piece on the end, this whole plastic chunk over here, is just the electronic actuator for the door lock. So you can take this whole thing off, but I've seen some of the guys on the forums that buy like a generic remote door lock kit from Amazon. And this is 2 wires. You hook it up, probably give some power, and then you get a little key fob and you have remote door locks. So I think that might be something I'm interested in, just to unlock the door a little easier from the outside. Especially if I have a passenger, I don't have to get in the car, reach across and unlock the passenger door, this toggle piece on the passenger door, and let them in. You can just, remotely do it, which will be nice. And the passenger side door does not have an exterior key lock on it. So this will be the only door I can use a key on. The door handle is pretty simple. It's from a Mazda. It comes in Mazda packaging. I'm guessing it was just small and cheap, so that's why they chose this for the kit, but it's all you need. It's nice. Does its job. Another constant struggle is the door kind of scraping on this leading edge or the screw itself. You can see a lot of red fiberglass dust in there. When I close the door, it just barely scrapes along this. So I've been cutting away the side of the door more and more, trying to find, enough clearance to get that scrape gone, and it's getting better. It's still scraping a little bit, but much better. At least the door closes nice and firm. I put the Noiko sound deadening mat on the door. Just the flat panel between me and the outside. I didn't bother doing the bottom surface or working it into the top surface or any of the edges. I just thought that the big flat panel between me and the outside was the best bang for your buck. I think it should be a nice improvement. Plus it gives the door a nice extra weight and thud if you knock on the outside. It sounds a little more sturdy. It's not as tinny. It's just fiberglass by itself. So, and then I covered that with the Noiko insulation, which is this gray foam that you see on top. The passenger side window is not going as smoothly. I have this large gap right here at the base of the window. And unfortunately, the glass is hitting this little tab here that the tracking wheel goes on. So I can't tilt the glass anymore to fix it. So I'm playing with moving this whole frame inside the door, which the motor is attached to, more toward the center of the car. I'm trying to pull the whole thing closer to this frame, this seal here. So it's not going very well. I had to take the door latch mechanism off of here. I'm slotting some holes on the side so I can pull this whole door frame more toward the center of the car. I'm having to take the striker latch that goes here. I slotted those holes so I can push that also more toward the center of the car, so I can move the whole lock mechanism further in, again, just so the window will close up the gap down here. So that's a work in progress. When I first put the hardtop on, I was hitting the brake fluid reservoir. So I made a small cut just to clear out for it. I've since made the cut larger, as you see here. I widened it so I can have access to this clutch reservoir back here also. I'll probably get my hand back there. And then I cleared out for this suspension nut over here in case I ever had to take it off or adjust it later. Just leave a little access for a wrench. With a matching one on the other side. I've got to say the doors are one of the most time-consuming parts of this car. I didn't expect it to be that challenging or that detailed, but getting everything to fit right and not rub and just work properly, like the lock mechanism took me several hours to get the rotation correct. And the door handle itself, you don't want to mess up cutting the hole because it would affect how the handle's installed, and you see that on the outside. So everything you're doing is visible when you're done. So you're taking your time, you're trying to be careful. You don't want any mistakes to be obvious. So I don't even have an estimate on this. 20 hours in the door, just the driver's side. Just picking away at different details on it and mechanisms, and It's not that complicated. It's just a lot of fine tuning and getting things right. And the passenger side is not any better. I thought after I did the driver's side it would be easier, but it has its own set of challenges. So